All right, so estrogen dominance and high estrogen. So this might not be a condition that people are very much aware of, but high levels of estrogen are extremely common in both males and females in today's society. And there are three predominant causes of that. Number one is liver dysfunction. Two is high carbohydrate intake, and number three is high stress environments. This will never be a game in Vegas because you could pick someone out of a crowd and bet whether or not that person likely has high estrogen, and you would probably be right. So let's start with high carbohydrate intake. When someone has a high carbohydrate diet, it becomes the primary source of energy for the body because it is the most easily broken down into glucose for cells to use for energy. Problem is that we consume it in such high amounts that it's like filling up the gas tank and then you keep filling. We keep filling and then we go fill up the trunk too. Too many carbohydrates is the real cause of fat gain. Let's take a traditional American staple meal as an example. A burger with fries and a Coke. So the Coke is full of processed sugar. The burger is likely topped with lettuce, onion, tomato, ketchup, mustard, and the buns, which are all carbohydrates. And the fries are all carbohydrates. The only thing that aren't carbohydrates is the actual burger, which is made of fat and protein. The body will use the protein, but because we have all these carbohydrates, which are easier for the energy to use, we'll instead turn it into fat. Our bodies will then store that fat and then use the carbs. But wait, our tank is probably already full, and the meal we will just had will fill up the tank and then some. Well, our body is not one to waste perfectly good energy, so it will save it for later, create those fat cells out of it, and then store it. And it will increase the fat-based hormones like estrogen. In my diabetes insulin keto video, I go all into the benefits of keto, so refer to that video for a better understanding on how keto can reduce estrogen. Simply put, in this video, if you decrease carbohydrates, you decrease the fat in the body and decrease the amount of estrogen it creates. Next one is stress. I'm going to be making a whole separate video on stress, so again, defer to that. The main takeaway from this video is the liver. The liver has three phases when it comes to estrogen. Phase one is the hydroxylation phase. This is where the estrogen is converted into three types of estrogen metabolites. Two are quote-unquote bad and one is good. The reason I put an air quote around it being bad is because they are only bad when there is too much of them, and they tend to lead to a lot of problems, the most significant being breast or cervical cancer. So too much estrogen being made does increase these probabilities. Next is phase two, or the methylation phase, where the liver adds a methyl group to the estrogen metabolites in phase one, turning them into methyl estrogens, preparing them for elimination from the body. This is the phase that tends to be the most heavily impacted when the liver is damaged. So now you can see two ways those metabolites can build up from the liver dysfunction. One is from too many being made, and the other is from the inability of our body to eliminate them. In order to help the liver in this situation, there are a few supplements I can recommend. All of these are from Biotics except for one. Except for two. Biotics Livotrit Plus, Beta TCP, Organic 15, and then from Zorex, B6, B1, and Sympathetic Balance. Livotrit Plus and B6, B1 are massive when it comes to improving liver function. Always take 2 tablets of Beta TCP with Livotrit. Beta TCP helps your gallbladder increase bile secretion, which means an improved breakdown of estrogen. And Organic 15 is a methyl donor supplement that can help with the methylation process of phase 2, and many more in the body. Which brings us right to phase 3, which actually happens outside the liver, in our gut, where we have this thing called our gut microbiome. This is where all kinds of bacteria live, and some of it is actually crucial to our overall health. This is one of those crucial moments. Some of the bacteria aid in the removal of estrogen once the liver releases it. That's right, we've come full circle. This brings us right back to our gut program. Inflammation in the gut and in the overgrowth of bad bacteria and parasites completely throw off our body's ability to eliminate estrogen. This is why we have to start by fixing the gut and then fine-tune it later. You can take those liver improving supplements until you're blue in the face, but none of it will help you with phase 3. The same is true for the opposite scenario. If you're someone who has taken a lot of antibiotics in your life, your gut microbiome is likely really thin, and which means, again, you can't properly eliminate estrogen. This is one of the many reasons that probiotics are so popular. But if you refer to my leaky gut video, I talk about the metaphor of inflammation being in the gut like a house on fire. Taking probiotics while inflammation is present is like putting new wood into the house that is literally on flames and before you've even removed the bad wood, you're trying to put in new wood. It's counterproductive. So if you haven't watched that video yet, I'd go watch that now, or the adrenal stress video. But honestly, both of them, if not all of them are really closely intertwined, which is why they are the first videos I've made for this site. Keto, gut health, and stress are all big factors when it comes to estrogen dominance. But Sean, bacterial growth is also a common problem, you may be thinking. So how do I get rid of the bacteria without antibiotics? Which is an excellent question. I talk about that in my leaky gut video, and we'll go over more in my fighting a cold or flu video. So thanks again for listening.